Hey everybody, welcome back. Today we are going to talk about something pretty cool. We're going to talk about just giving an overview of navigating the VA, everything from, benefits to health, etc. But I need you to stick around to the end of the video for an important announcement. So please just bear with me, roll through the video, and we'll see what comes out at the end. Thanks. Hold on. Hey everybody, it's Steve. Welcome back. Let's talk today about navigating the VA, right? Sometimes we have to go back to the basics because I think there's a lot of people out there, there's a lot of veterans out there that don't quite get the basics yet. And really there needs to be a focus on this, quite honestly. So let's start with the very first one here, which is that VA benefits, you're entitled to them as a veteran. It's not a handout. Don't think of them as a handout. They're not a handout. It's not the government saying, here, we're just going to give you this, right? It's something you earned with time and with effort and with your life. You know what I mean? So don't ever think that. It's earned through service and service only. It's not charity. Get rid of that. Also understand with that comes the beautiful bureaucracy that we get as VA is a part of, the government system, sadly. So there's a lot of complexities that go along with the VA. Now, you can learn some of them. You can, familiarize yourself with some of them. They're ever changing. Not the easiest thing to deal with, but to be honest, just understand that it's a bureaucracy. There is a lot of junk out there. And when it comes to dealing with the VA overall, the mindset needs to be patience and persistence. Because if you don't have patience, the VA is going to drive you mad. It's driven me mad before. If you don't have persistence, you're not going to get what you want from the VA because they're a bureaucracy. They're a pain in the butt to deal with sometimes, right? Just knowing those things gets you in the right mindset. First thing you need to know about, getting started with the VA. You have to understand what your discharge is. If your discharge is honorable, general under honorable, other than honorable, and dishonorable, there are different things that you qualify for, right? There's been a lot of changes in this. There's a lot of back and forth with the VA about how this is, working for those with dishonorable discharges. Basically, what you need to do is you need to go out to the va.gov website and start looking at what it takes to get the benefits that you're entitled to. Some of the enrollment stuff takes a little while. Some of it, you have to really kind of just kick it up a notch and get things going. Go out to the va.gov website, check out what you're eligible for, get started. Stop thinking it's a handout. It is not a handout. You're entitled to it. You earned it with years of your life. Next thing is disability, right? Understanding the concept of service connected. You could have had a condition that was, let's say, I'm just going to take one that works probably 75, 80% of the time of somebody who's really educated on this. Pes planus is flat feet, right? Pes planus can be diagnosed prior to going into the service. I was diagnosed with it prior to going into the service. But because of all my time in the service and the activities that I did and the amount of time on my feet, I developed plantar fasciitis. That is service connected. It is service connected because it was exacerbated by pes planus and turned it into something else. There's also other things that are service connected that are things that actually happen in service, right? Things that have affected you because of a specific event in service. Now there's mental health events, there's physical events, back, legs, arms, joints, etc., right? You just have to go through and learn the process because that is what's really going to get you what you want. The key to disability benefits is service connection, current diagnosis. That means you have to have been seen by a doctor or be seeing a doctor for a specific condition. And then the third part of that, quite honestly, is the nexus. How do you connect that event to that diagnosis? That's a real big thing to worry about, right? Those are the three things that it really, really takes to get VA disability. However, continuity of symptoms, continuity of care, continuity, period, especially for especially for those who have been out of the service for a while. Listen, I've been out of the service since 1997, right? And when I have to go back and look at things and say, how long has this been going on? I've got to go to like 8 different doctors that I saw, maybe 10 different doctors between then and now. But finding that continuity of symptoms, finding that continuity of care between the time that you were in service and the time that you're filing for your disability benefits is key. Now, that brings up a good point. File soon after you get out of the military. I don't care if you're 1 year out of the military. I don't care if you're 4 months out of the military. I don't care if you're 25 years out of the military. You can make this happen, but it's a whole lot easier when you're really close to your military service. So when you're discharged, bam, 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 get started right away. Trust me, it will pay dividends for you in the long term, and you've earned every bit of this. So the big things here, intent to files, right? I covered this in a previous video, but when you realize that you have a disability that is service connected or you believe is service connected and you want to file a claim with the VA, file an intent to claim immediately. Immediately start that clock, because that clock is going to be your best friend, okay? Be prepared for a C&P exam, compensation and pension exam. Has nothing to do with compensation, has nothing to do with pension, has to do with evaluation, right? C&P examiners are looking to what is in your medical record, what do they observe from you, how well are you explaining out your symptoms and the time and the connection, and then they are giving an evaluation. It is either not as likely as not as likely, or as likely as not, or likely due to your time in the service. That's a combination of looking at medical records, VA records, your service record, what you bring with you to the C&P exam, how you answered questions, what your diagnostic code is. A ton of data goes into that. But be prepared, because that C&P exam is going to be a big deal. So when it comes to filing for healthcare, just go in, file for healthcare, right? File for it. See what happens. You're probably going to get it. Most veterans do. And then as your disabilities go up and up and up, if you have that many of them, you're going to reach a point where healthcare is completely covered, prescriptions completely covered, and at some point, dental, vision, all of it completely covered. This is an invaluable benefit to us. Seriously, get after it. I am looking at my notes over here, by the way. So some common mistakes with the VA. One of those big common mistakes is that people will file for something that they cannot prove and they know they can't prove it. Just don't. File for stuff that you know you got, right? File for those things that you know are service connected. Make sure you connect all the dots. Get all your medical records. Get your service record. Talk about the event in detail. On June 13th, 1996, while I was in the Persian Gulf, at this base or aboard this ship, etc. Those are the types of details you need to get into when you go to put your claim in. So get all of that stuff put together, right? You need to really understand that. File for secondary conditions. If you have a primary condition, let's say you have a primary condition of PTSD and you have meds for PTSD, or you just get migraines, you wake up, night terrors, whole 9 yards, causes you to take, ibuprofen or Motrin, vitamin M, whatever you want to call it, right? Just make sure you document all that and file for those secondary conditions, because secondary conditions is what's going to take you from low to high. I'm just trying to be fair with everybody. Listen, there's a lot of people that can get direct service connection to 100%, but there's a ton more that can get to 100%. You just need to get your secondary conditions in. Along with that, don't give up after you're denied. Get some help from a VSO. Get some help from, there's a handful of really good content creators out here on YouTube that can help you out and get you moving in the right direction. Topics are vast. They're widely covered out here. And I think the majority of us listen to what you want to hear about, and we will create videos and gather the information about those things. VSOs are certified with the VA. They know how to do their job. Some are good, some care, some don't, some are not good. If you find one, you don't like them, get a different VSO. It's very simple. You just choose a different VSO and start going to them. You'll do a new POA, boom, 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 done, right? And then keep copies of everything you submit. I'm telling you, when I started this journey, I submitted for my first couple and I didn't keep copies of anything. And the first one got approved, second one got denied. All of a sudden it was like, okay, well, what do I do now, right? I didn't have my documentation sitting right in front of me to go, okay, this is what I provided. This is what the denial letter says. It says I didn't prove connection between A and B, right? Great. I go back over to what I submitted. I can go look, how did I miss that? How did I get there? It helps you get better and better at this, quite honestly. And you can really dig into, oh, I see what I missed, or they're full of crap, higher level review. Either way, that works, right? So, other benefits. I want to cover some other benefits that are out there. You've got Chapter 31, which is VRE, Veterans Vocational Rehab is what it used to be called. I don't know the new name of it. It's some fancy new name. But it's basically voc rehab. Then you've got VA home loan. You've got the GI Bill. You got your pension, for those that are eligible for pension, burial benefits. There's several other benefits that you can get from the VA. And then pay attention to the VA news, okay? Pay attention. There are a lot of ways that you can get information about what's going on at the VA, but you need to stay informed because some things will change and you'll either want to get on top of those right away before they change, or you'll want to wait for the change and do it then, right? You may be eligible for new benefits. I don't know, right? And you may be at risk for having some benefits reevaluated, and you need to know what you're facing moving forward. Pay close attention to what's going on. All right, so with that, I've gotten to the end of my video. Here's the big thing that I wanted to share. My wife and I, wow, I just wiggled the camera. My wife and I just welcomed our very first grandchild into the world. And I am finding it very hard with competing priorities between work and this and a couple other things that I do on the side. I'm not stopping content with you guys. I'm just not going to do it. But I may take June and July and barely have any content so that I can focus on my family. It's most important thing to me is my family. They're my first ministry. They're the first people I have to take care of on this rock that we live on. So I'm going to do my best to keep going. Send me in the comments. This is what I'm asking for. Send me in the comments. What topics do you want covered? I don't care if they're repeat topics. I don't care if I've talked about them before. I don't care if 8 other channels are talking about them. What you want to hear about as veterans, that's what's important to me. So I will take the time. I'll do the research. I'll start planning. I'll start, gathering up content ideas again. But I may be taking June and July off just to get my brain back into, working mode, semi-working mode, whatever you want to call it. But I appreciate every single one of you. Thank you so much for all the support. I've got one more thing I want to go look at. I'm just looking at something real quick on this computer, and I'm going to tell you, I want to thank somebody specific here. Sergeant Isom 0609. Thank you so much for becoming a member, helping support this channel. I will continue to get you content. Just allow me this little break for life, and then we'll get back at it. Thank you very much. Take care of each other.